Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your recovery-focused podcast with your host, Keegan. And tonight, we are joined by a woman who doesn't just write stories. She builds interconnected universes where fate is negotiable and the gods have a sense of humor. Amanda Facciano is author of the Otherworld Saga, where gods meddle, ghosts linger, vampires brood strategically, and love defies both death and divine law. When she's not orchestrating supernatural chaos, Amanda teaches mastery-level writing courses for Battle Goddess Press, helping authors sharpen their craft, deepen character psychology, and build story worlds that refuse to behave. She's here to talk about the other world, and we're also going to explore the inner world. So, Amanda, whenever you talk about like emotionally devastating yourself, is that because like your background and how you fell into writing books? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so that we can really get to know Amanda and where her world creation kind of comes from?
I am the child of two lifelong readers, and I always grew up loving telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
I also grew up in a haunted house, which
Ooh.
leads right into the whole paranormal, mythic, everything.
Uh-huh.
So that had a lot to do with it. I've found writing as a good way to kind of release some traumas, demons, problems, etc. So none of us are without them, and from our parents, from our own lives, things that go on. So it is something that I found that really helps. So yeah, I will emotionally devastate myself and possibly my friends in order to bring the story to life.
Man, I can really relate to the haunted house thing because I grew up in a couple of them myself, and boy, let me tell you, like, whenever people like to sit there and say the paranormal isn't real, I'm like, well, more power to you, but once you experience it and you can't explain it, there's no going back,
Yeah.
So is there a certain memory that really sticks out for your first, like, oh shit, that was a ghost or something?
Well, I was so young. We moved into that house when I was 4.
Mm.
So to me, he was just another person. So
Oh.
I really couldn't distinguish it. I could see him. I could talk to him,
Mhm.
which kind of freaked my parents out a little bit. Um, but I actually did get my mother to admit when I was older that she did know that there was a ghost there because they would hear him going up the stairs, because our stairs in the front were very particular. It
Mhm.
was 7 steps up and then a landing, and it turned and there were another 7 steps up another way, and
Uh-huh.
you would hear the step, 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 pause,
Hmm.
step, step, and like everybody's in bed. I'm the only child. My parents were in bed. There
Yeah.
was nothing, but you hear the steps.
Huh.
He was actually kind of protective of me. He said I reminded him of his baby sister. So
Oh, man. That's pretty cool. But I mean, hearing those footsteps late at night whenever there's should be no one else walking around is pretty creepy. So, did your parents kind of think that he was like this imaginary friend?
for a long time they did, until they, because they one thing I always put in my books is that humans can rationalize anything. And so they were always like, it's just the house settling, it's new construction, whatever.
Mhm.
New construction built on a Civil War battlefield.
Uh,
So, but whatever.
yeah.
We'll just go with that.
Uh,
Just settling. That's fine.
uh,
It's fine. It's all fine. But he did something to my mom. My mom and I had gotten into a fight, and I must have been like 8 at the time.
mhm.
And he didn't like it, so he took my mother's frying pan for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I remember her, and I had to sit at the table. She thought I took it. She took my room apart, couldn't find it. She took the
Uh-huh.
kitchen apart, couldn't find it. My dad took the kitchen apart, couldn't find it. They finally go out, buy a new frying pan, and one day later, like, my mom goes to go get the new frying pan to cook something for dinner, and there's the old one right on top. It's just like, okay.
Man. Uh it's so strange how ghosts can do that kind of thing, just make things disappear and then
Or move
reappear.
them, and
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just one of those things that you like, how would you try to rationalize that nowadays, you know? Because your mom tried to rationalize it with you moving it, but
Yeah.
now that you know, how would you try to rationalize it if you were trying to debunk the paranormal, you know?
Probably go through the same motions she did. Just, okay, where did I put it that it's
Mm,
out of place? Something like that. And be like, okay, well, did I loan it to somebody because of dinner party or whatever? Did you take it into work because of a work function? But myself, right now I live by myself
mhm.
and there's nobody that really comes over. So if my frying pan goes missing, I'm definitely blaming the ghosts. Be like,
Speaking
just
of
cook it, bring it back, washed, please.
at the moment, do you undergo hauntings in the house that you're in at the moment?
I'm in an apartment complex. I haven't seen much. I have seen a cat, and I don't know, not often enough to think it's tied to this apartment,
Huh.
but it's a black and white tuxedo cat. I have never in my life owned a black and white tuxedo cat.
Huh.
Sometimes I'll just see out of the corner of my eye, I see the black and white cat jump off the dresser or something, and I'm just like, okay, at least you're not knocking stuff over, so we're good. Don't break, don't break my stuff. That's all I ask.
Yeah, cats do like to knock stuff off whenever they are in the physical, so I can only imagine the corporeal versions of them would be just as tricky.
Yeah, probably.
um, so whenever you were growing up and you had these hauntings happen, was that something that kind of got you into the writing mood, like something to help rationalize it for yourself, maybe?
I think that's part of it. I know as a teenager, I spent scads of hours at the library because, yeah, I'm a nerd. Go figure. And but I would be in like the paranormal section reading Ed and Lorraine Warren and all these other things. And I've always had that fascination just because it was with what I grew up with. My dad loved Civil War, so we'd go to Gettysburg and Stone Mountain and all this other stuff. And so I always had that steeped in me, I guess.
Hmm.
So I started by trying to write high fantasy. Like when I first started thinking maybe I can do this, but I always wanted to make, and this was before urban fantasy was a thing,
Hmm.
um, like mix horror and fantasy.
Okay.
And thank God that has now become a thing because I love playing in that sandbox.
um, do you think that you would have kind of found your way there without all the hauntings?
Probably.
You think so?
Probably because even aside from the ghost interest, I've always been interested in vampires and shifters and things like that. My dad loved horror films.
Hmm.
My mother absolutely did not. So he wanted a horror buddy. 5 years old. 5.
Oh, ooh,
The Howling.
ooh.
And we wonder why Amanda likes shifter stories?
Because it sounds like that was something that you and your father bonded over, you know?
We
And
did.
that's awesome. And I mean, a lot of people look at horror as something that we should be so afraid of that we don't even think about it. And yet we have people like y'all that are sitting here and it's something that just made your identity in a sense.
Hmm.
And it's really cool that you're able to sit here and bring your inner world to the outer world and through the Otherworld Saga. Because, I mean, with all these kind of experiences, you don't really just have to sit there and make stuff up. You can just kind of go like, "Oh yeah, I remember that one time. How can I write that in there?" Right?
Yep. I can
No.
tell you the first 5 books I put out were that's the Life After series, which is the first phase of my Otherworld Saga, and I promise I'm not gonna go off on that tangent. Um, but when you get to book 3, The Dead Show, that has, part of that story is a family who is trying to help their daughter who has an imaginary friend, uh, and the house that they live in is exactly the floor plan of the haunted house I grew up in. In Dead Revelations, which is the 4th book, the farmhouse and the history of the farmhouse that is in that book is a place where I used to go amateur ghost hunting with some friends that had very um, not as friendly ghosts.
Oof.
So
D- Speaking of the ghost hunting, did y'all ever get some like really cool EVPs or anything like that?
we got a couple of EVPs that were really hard to determine. They were nowhere near like class A or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We got some shadows, but a lot of it was personal experience from me and one of the others because he and I were the ones that would stay in the house longest. Everybody else booked out. Everybody else was like, nope. and Corey and I were like, nah, this is fine. Like that shadow over there, we're good.
Real quick, whenever you have to describe the kind of settings in your books, it's hard to really quantify that same feeling whenever you walk into a place that is overwhelmingly haunted,
Mhm.
or something, because it's a pressure, right? And
Yes.
it's not one that is, I don't know how to even explain it because it's just so weird. It's like static is in the air, but at the same time, it's hard to breathe. And it's just one of those that there's something in us that knows there's something and it's probably not good for us. So, uh, how did you push through that?
How did I push through it in the actual real life scenarios, or how do
Yep.
I describe it? Oh, okay.
Both.
Okay. In the real life scenario was just trying to outlast everybody for bragging rights, I guess. I've got that Irish stubborn streak in me where it's like, oh hell no, no. No, I'm not giving up. You were not going to be able to say I girled out or whatever and ran.
Uh-huh.
Um, so um, so I probably stayed later than I should have on that one. That particular house was not fun. But in in the writing, I think you did a good job of describing it. Actually, just the pressure, the sense of wrongness, the sense of otherness. You don't necessarily have to have the big 25-cent words every other paragraph. It's what conveys the actual feeling to your
Mm,
reader.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's just something, I don't know if all authors do it, if all people do it, if I'm just weird. But when I go places and I walk into a room, I read the room as far as body language, micro expressions, and I'm well aware through years of therapy that that's just how I am because of things that have happened. But
Mm-hmm.
um, you learn to read that and to feel that and to categorize it. And because of my writing and because I've always wanted to do what I do, I tend to have a somewhat larger vocabulary. So I'm always going, okay, how can I categorize this feeling? How do I
Mm,
say this? How would I put that down?
mm-hmm.
And I've been doing that since I was in high school. So
Ah.
it's kind of a second nature thing. It's not like I'm trying to brag. I'm really not. But it's just it's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like it's a talent, right? To be able to bring that feeling outside and put it on paper. Because not only is it scary to go through those kind of things, it's also scary to kind of put ourselves out there and let other people know what we're feeling on the inside, right?
Yes. Yes.
Uh, so, like, can you walk me through how you felt whenever you first published a book? Because I can imagine that that was kind of like me starting up the podcast, going like, "What the hell was I thinking? That was dumb."
It was so scary. It was terrifying. I was scared like you wouldn't believe. I wrote the first book and I spent probably 5 years editing it, trying to convince myself that it was not worth anything, which I've
Mm,
been really easily able to do for a very long time.
mm.
And I finally was like, I think I got something,
Ah.
very quietly. I think maybe I've got something here. And I ended up at a convention where there were some authors talking about traditional publishing versus self-publishing.
Hmm.
And the self-publishing author was like, don't be afraid of it. It's very scary to put yourself out there to do that, which is the same thing as you doing the podcast. It's terrifying to do.
Yeah.
But if you do it, the fright, the terror, it only lasts for like 5 seconds. And then it's like, oh my God, I did it. You get that kick of, I did the thing, And when you go and think about it, especially with writing, only 3% of the people who ever say that they're going to write a book, write the book. And out of that, only 1% publish.
Whoa. Huh. I didn't realize the statistics were so low.
Yep.
Wow. So you're actually in a 1 percentile of sorts, huh?
Yeah, that's probably the only way I'm special, but yeah.
Nah. You got a lot of special talents and you got a lot of specialness in you because, I mean, not only are we having this conversation, but you've lived your life. You may have some stories that are similar to other people. You may have experiences that are similar or whatever, but you're unique. And that's the thing, is that your perspective means that and I had a friend that I had interviewed not too long ago, and she put it to words very well because her art teacher said that everything's been done, but because you haven't done it, it hasn't been done. And I was like,
Yes.
whoa. So, I mean, that's kind of how I think that we have to look at our lives. Like, because we haven't let other people know our stories, it hasn't been told yet.
Exactly. And that's actually something when people ask when I'm at conventions, what advice do you have for writers? That's one of the big ones I give, is that everything has already been done. However, the only story we haven't heard is yours, because you
Ooh.
can take a room full of authors, give them the same characters, the same plot premise. You will not come up with the same story once.
Huh. Yeah. I never thought about it that way. Huh.
In fact, there's a panel I do whenever I can. It's called Choose Your Own Adventure.
Ooh.
And it's, like when I moderate it, I come in with the theme, like, here's your setting. We've got these authors on the panel, and there's usually 7 of us because it's popular. People enjoy doing it. It's on the fly authoring. And that's the fun part. It's, here's this premise. Here our first author's going to start us, get you to a choice. The audience votes on the choice.
Huh.
And then the next author has to take that and run.
Ooh.
And I have seen these stories go every which way except the way you think they're going to go. Depending on the hour and convention, hard. I mean, it'll go left real fast, real hard. But it's just that is one great way of saying that, because you start out with the same story. Everybody knows the same thing, and they're all going to put their own spin on what happens, and the audience does too by how they vote.
Okay. So whenever that happens, like, how long of a time frame do you have to do that? You said it's on the fly, so I mean, is it like a 30-minute session or something for a story?
The panel is usually about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And we just keep going through the table. And we are left with what the audience gives us as the choice and what has happened before. So, and it's just, you got to do your best. And at this point, I have a couple of people that the only way I get them back on the panel is go, I promise I'm not going to kill you this time. I promise I won't kill you this time. Really? I know I said it last time, but this time I mean it. So. Mark Muncie holds a grudge with me on that one.
It reminds me of like those improv comedy stand-up bits. Yes. Where freeze. All right, audience, give me a genre of film. Documentary.
Yeah. That is very much what it's like. Only instead of doing like a 5-second bit, you've got 5 minutes of story to tell, and you're sitting there going, "What do I do now?"
Oh man. I think that that's like really awesome though, because you're sitting there and you're weaving a story as you're going, and that's hard, because you have to keep track of all these little details, and at the same time you have to come up with something else at the same time. And so, like, how did you start to really weave that kind of storytelling into your skill set?
The first panel I did like that, I was not the one moderating it. I just happened to get placed on that panel at Spooky Empire.
Ah. Uh-huh.
And I learned really fast how they did it because I
Uh-huh.
loved it. Yeah, I had so much fun. But yeah, it was very much I had to get over my stage fright really fast in order to think,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's looking at me now. Oh crap. So, yeah.
Oh,
And when you're doing stuff like that, you also have to be mindful of the littles in the room, because the some of us like to drop the F-bomb a lot,
huh.
including me. And, and it's like, oh, shit, there's a 5-year-old. I mean, sorry, there's a 5-year-old. And you're just like, oh, okay, red face.
Man. Uh, is it like a all ages kind of thing, or are there some that's like, oh no, this one is like the X-rated, like we're not going to go in there?
The Spooky Empire, it was X-rated. Whether or not they intended it, it went there. I would imagine if they did something like that at Dragon Con, it would be 9 p.m. block or after. Tampa
Mm-hmm.
Bay Comic Con, it was like 1 in the afternoon. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to be mindful. And that there were some authors, and it was a group of authors I love with all my heart. They're all my friends, and we had so much fun. But let's just say Pyramid Head had a baby by the end of it.
What?
And my friend was really happy to be the mom.
What?
I broke Keegan.
Pyramid Head had a, okay.
Yep. And Polly Shore got killed, I think, on that one too.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. You're just
Uh-huh.
like, wait, what?
So I can only imagine the kind of stories that are actually told. Because, oh man, I can see why you fell in love with it.
Yeah. You know what? Never mind. The first one I was on was fun. I'm gonna leave it at that. I will tell you the story off camera. But I don't even think radio sensors are gonna be able to. I will fry their circuits on that one.
Fair enough. One of the questions that comes to mind though is, because this little bit has us both laughing really hard. It's great to see that storytelling is one of those things that can just make people have different kind of emotions. And
Mhm.
so whenever we're talking about like the inner world being brought out to the outer world, that sounds like a lot of kind of what is happening, but in real time, right? So
Mhm.
has someone accidentally trauma dumped a whole bunch on there real quick?
I think during those panels that they have,
Mm-hmm.
I have had readers come up to me and trauma dump, and
Yeah.
it's not that is not unwanted, because I like the fact that they feel they can talk to me, that something
Yeah.
resonated with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, sometimes I get stories from people, and it's like, okay, thank you. Now I'm traumatized. Um, but no, but I work through my own traumas, so technically I am trauma dumping on people with my books anyway, so it's fair.
So whenever you're trauma dumping on with your books, you have to kind of make it not necessarily palatable, but you want people to be entertained by it and not turned off by it necessarily, but you can't really please everyone, right? So how do you define what is appropriate for you whenever you're doing this?
A lot of it I don't even realize I'm doing at the time. Like
Oh,
I have a character that I have had for 30 years,
okay.
and was born through, I think, me trying to figure out some things.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally got that character into print, and she is coming with the new set of books that are coming out later. Um, and people love her. Every time I've read anything or let people read, they love Kyra. She
Okay.
is probably one of the most favoritist characters I have ever created. And I love playing with her too, because she has no damn filter. Um, she's multiple personality. She has been traumatized. She was
Mm.
broken when she was made a vampire,
Mm.
and very deliberately so.
Okay.
Um, but some of her trauma and part of her breaking is part of my trauma
Mm.
from being something that happened, and I'm not going to trauma dump on you. But um people have actually said to me when reading, they're like, are you okay?
Oof.
And it's just like, yeah, I'm good. I didn't even realize until after I turned it into the editor, and I was like, oh, holy crap. Yeah, I did trauma dump there, didn't I? But
Man.
but I was also working through it,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, through the character, and with Kyra, who does not break and will tell anybody who thinks she should that they can just fuck right off. Um, it's definitely, I write that she puts this other personality on as armor against the world,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. I put her on as armor. That mindset of just be unfiltered and don't care. You
Mm-hmm.
know, not don't care about people, just don't care about what people think.
Ooh, that's some strong stuff right there. Not caring what people think, because
That I don't do good with that. That's why I need her.
yeah, I mean, I would love to embody Kira right there too, because growing up, I was so worried about what people thought that I tricked myself into thinking I didn't care what people thought. And that was a weird little paradox, because it was like, screw you, I don't care. But on the inside, I was like, oh, please accept me and love me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and I've always been that way too.
mm,
So,
eh,
and I've always been, um, I've always been kind of an odd one out.
mm-hmm,
I've been handicapped since I was a kid,
mm,
and in high school, I was literally the only one in my high school in a wheelchair.
man.
Be a teenage girl with that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you stick out like a sore thumb. Yay.
eh,
But, you know,
Yeah.
you do what you can and you
Mm-hmm,
grow.
mm-hmm.
So, and that awkwardness is something that I can put into a character and maybe help others figure out how to deal with, now that I am way older than that now.
But I mean, with that experience comes a lot of just what's the proper word for it? Come with that experience, you're able to transmute that pain into something,
Yes.
and that's what's so beautiful about storytelling is that we get to do something with something that we thought was a pile of junk. A
No.
lot of people don't sit there and see trauma or problems or life experiences as treasures. A lot of them will see it and they'll be like, no, send it to the landfill. We're good. And
Yeah.
you sat there, you actually said, no, let me do something with that. And so do you think that writing was like the best thing that you could have done for your mental health?
I do. I really do. One example I can give you of that is recently, in
Okay.
fact, several months ago. Um, I was going through what was really, I mean, not looking back on it, not a hard time, but at the time, oh my God, my world is ending, because we
Mm.
all get that kind of tunnel vision when we're
Mhm.
dealing with stuff right in front of us.
Yep.
And I had, I did what I usually do, which is open up my laptop and start writing. And I poured it into a character, and that character I actually recently read that particular chapter at an open night a few
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, open mic night, and everybody was just like, "Oh," so I was like, "Okay, I guess that worked." But after that, I got to the point where I couldn't get any more out on the page, and I was still hurting,
Mm.
and so I was like, "I'm not leaving my kids. I'm not leaving my stories."
Mm-hmm.
Jen doesn't have my Bible for my universe. I can't go. That kind of thing. I was like, I got to find something to help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open TikTok. I'll find something to laugh at.
Yeah.
And I happened upon your TikTok live that night.
Oh, whoa. It was that night?
It was that night. I've been
Whoa.
crying my eyes out for hours.
Hmm. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Aw. Well, jeez. Uh, well,
Oh,
I mean,
I didn't mean to make you cry.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I didn't know that whenever you popped in, you were going through that kind of thing, you know? Like I just saw, I think at the time it was it author Amanda? It was another name, I think, but it was still Amanda something.
Misfit Amanda
Misfit
is my
Amanda.
TikTok. Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you pull up the profile on it, it's author Amanda Facciano.
Yeah. Yeah. And uh I do remember you just popping in and like just hanging out with us and everything. And I'm just really glad that you stumbled upon it because I mean you've done so much for the world and I'm so glad that you get to keep doing that, you
Thank you.
know?
I haven't
Yeah.
really done much for the world. All I do is write stories. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how important that is, but it's escapism at least.
Well, I don't think it's just escapism because you're helping other people realize that they're not alone in whatever they're going through, you know? And that's beautiful right there because whenever we're in the thick of it, it feels like we're alone.
Yeah, it
And
does.
so you I swear that you've had more people read your books and it changed their life in one way or another and they just don't know how to pick up a like laptop and send an email or write a
Mhm.
letter, because we don't realize the impact that we actually have in the world unless someone tells us.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, maybe it's sometimes for the better. I don't know because I don't know. I think that that's the beautiful thing, though. Because I didn't know that you were going through that whenever you popped on in, and I'm so glad that you did because again, we get to have this conversation, and now other people are going to hear it, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm not alone," and maybe it will give someone the chutzpah to actually go write their own book.
Yeah. Write your own book, write poetry,
Hmm.
write whatever, put whatever you can into turning your pain into something that can help other people, because if we can do that, maybe the world won't be so dark.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one thing I always try, and I tried to raise my kids this way too,
Hmm.
is, there's a lot of dark, there's a lot of ugly. Be the light that you want to see in the world. And I
Hmm.
think that stems back to, and yes, I'm showing my age again, Mr. Rogers. You know,
Yeah. Huh.
he always kind of had that outlook too. Be the
Yeah.
friend that you wish you had. Be the person you wish you could find more of.
Hmm.
So I tried to do that. Not
Yeah.
always great at it, but
That I don't think any of us are actually great at it, because it's an art form in itself,
yeah.
and I think a lot of the times the trauma or whatever we've been through is the fuel for our fire one way or another.
Hmm.
And without it, a lot of people, I'm sorry to say, but the people that haven't been through some shit in their lives are usually the boring ones that are like the NPCs of a game that are like
Yes.
so
Skip,
yeah.
skip, skip.
So it's just amazing that we can sit here and have these kind of conversations. And it's something that should help other people realize that we can do so much so long as we believe in ourselves just that little bit. And sometimes we do need other people to let us know that, hey, like, even if you don't believe in you, I believe in you.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it I mean, it's just one of the things that is crazy is that, like I said, we don't know the impact that we have in the world. We don't know this kind of thing until maybe someone tells us. Maybe we look back and we reflect on things, and it's like, oh, hey, like I didn't put these two dots together because I had those blinders on, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And whenever we're going through the thick of it, we just want someone to relate to.
Yeah.
And so you said you've been working with that character Kira for 30 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She started out as a tabletop gaming character for
Mm-hmm.
Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah. Showing my age again. Because that was first edition Vampire the Masquerade.
Ah.
But yeah, she started as that, and I think you can probably still tell what clan she was from in her writing, just because she's crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
she was a Malkavian. Um, but yeah, I've had her for 30 years, and I have just been able to work through a lot of different things, but especially sexual assault.
Mm.
So if I'm not trying to trauma dump,
No,
but
it's fine. You can trauma dump all you want because I mean that's what retrieving sanity is, you know? How we tell ourselves the same kind of story in a sense if we don't let that story out, I think.
yeah.
So, like, as much as some of them suck to retell, I think like talk therapy is great for identifying things, you know, but
Hmm.
whenever it's like you tell the same story again and again and again, but you don't actually do something to like heal the wound, I think it
Hmm.
just makes it kind of worse because it actually makes you focus on it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a feeling that like whenever you kind of write your stories out, it's a good way to like set it out there and almost forget about it in a sense. Like, yeah, that happened. It's a more objective way to look at it. But
Yeah.
is that
And
kind of what happens?
yeah, it is what happens, and it's, like the scene I wrote where the character was just crying and dealing with that. Her reasons had very little to do with the issue I was facing at that time. It was just getting those feelings out. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, you know how they say, sometimes you just have to scream and cry and get it out and you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That can help. It can help so much if it's, the screaming and the crying, or being angry about something,
Mm-hmm.
or wanting to basically give life the flying fickle finger of fate. It's just, it is what it is. And getting those things out on paper, like they would tell you in therapy, write a letter to the people who wronged you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't send it, but, write the letter, get the feelings out. It helps.
uh,
That it's the same kind of thing, except I'm not writing letters to people. I'm just morphing things a little bit and reconfiguring it. Like you
uh-huh.
said, taking things that could go to the landfill, I try to take and make mosaic pictures,
Mm.
broken
Yeah.
glass, but in a pretty way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and I think that that's something that is just beautiful, you know, because it takes a lot of strength to do that. It takes a lot to be able to just get it out there because in a sense whenever we bring that stuff up it feels like we're opening us ourselves up to what it was once again. And if it was painful, who really likes to go towards pain, you know, like sadistic
yeah.
people or masochists, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
masochists.
masochist.
And like I know I'm kind of in that group and it's one of those things that it's like, but it doesn't serve me in the future to wallow in pain, you know. I
Right.
unfortunately made a lot of my identity around pain, and so whenever I started healing, I was like, "Oh shit, what do I do with me?" Because so much of me was based around like, "Oh, poor me, ouch, everything
Hmm.
hurts." And at the same time, I was like, just I didn't know who I was going to be, and that was scary in its own right.
Yeah.
So, did you ever like find yourself having an identity shift whenever you were writing your stories out?
Oh my God. Yes. Um, so, fun fact, I am divorced.
Okay.
And that was after 28 years.
Oof.
Yeah. So, and my kids are grown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're 23 and 21, about to be 22 now.
Oh.
That one hurts. Um, my
Oh.
baby. But just the fact that, okay, I wasn't necessarily needed to be mom, which had been my identity for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't wanted as wife, which had been my identity for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And to get out of that situation, you know, I decided to move somewhere and start fresh. I have no friends here, you know?
Oh.
So it's like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? I have no identity here. So I've spent the last year throwing myself into author Amanda and
Ah.
trying to make that happen, because that is something that I've wanted since I was single digits old.
Mm-hmm.
So I've decided, if none of those other things are something I have to put my energy into anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it into my dream.
Oh man.
If I don't get it, I don't get it, but it won't be for want of trying.
Well, I mean, you're already in that 1%, you know? I mean, that in itself is a bragging right, I think. Like, you are author Amanda. You have books out. You have the saga out, you know? And so it's crazy because, like, uh, you should be so proud of yourself, you know? But it's hard to.
Problems because, of course, being proud of yourself, the way I was raised,
Oh,
is you're bragging, you
mm-hmm.
know, you don't be proud of yourself, be proud of everybody else,
Yep.
but not yourself.
Yep.
And you know, that just speaks to my parents and their demons and how they raised me. But
Mm-hmm.
it's, I am proud of myself. I actually sat there and did a count at the end of the year. I wrote over 550,000 words last year in the calendar
Oh,
year.
holy cow.
I finished to turning in 5 books and finished the first draft of the 6th
Wow.
in 2025. And I've already finished the first draft of another book in 2026 that I started on January 1st, and I finished the rough draft 2 nights ago.
Wow. Holy
So I'm
shit.
pushing.
Yeah. George R. Martin could take some notes from you.
Yeah, well, that man needs to write like the wind, because he's gonna we're all gonna be sitting here like, come on, George. You promised us an ending. Better than coffee cups left on tables. Come on. Sorry. Little bitter
uh,
about that show right now.
oh, it's yeah, it's I how long did that show actually go on for? Like 10 years or something?
I thought it was 8, but it might have been 10 just because COVID broke things up.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I got into the show when it aired,
Mhm.
and so thereby got into the books, which happens with me a lot, which is weird because I'm a reader and I'm always like, how did I miss this? You know? And by the time the first season ended, I'd read the first 4.
Uh,
And I'm like, oh, there are problems, because
oh.
now they're catching up to where he's at in the books, and we don't have another book yet. And oh, this might be bad.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't read the books personally. It's one of those ones that like after watching the whole series, I don't know if I want to cuz it
Yeah.
was I was like I was that was such a disappointment, you know. It was like come on guys, like y'all could have done so much better. But I guess it's not their world, you know? Like they did have to take up a lot
Yeah.
of creative liberty. Uh
Yeah.
So,
But they still had notes from Martin, and Martin was like, this is what goes. And they had to play it by the book because he had script approval or story approval,
mm,
which one day, oh my God, I hope.
yeah, I was about to say, do you think that that's going to be one of the things that happens on your radar is getting it either into a TV show or a movie? Yeah, fingers
Hopefully.
crossed.
But I actually have been I do things weird. I found actors that I like for certain roles,
Uh-huh.
and I've actually contacted a couple, and
Huh.
one of them is very interested.
Whoa.
And
Huh.
actually for Kyra's paramour, Silas.
Ooh.
So, and I'm sure your wife can give you chapter and book on Silas. As since your lovely wife is an alpha reader of mine. Yeah, the actor that I want for him is absolutely, he is basically saying, tell me when and where, you know. So I'm
Whoa.
like, great, now I have to find money.
Yeah.
Like,
I
money,
mean,
money, money. I don't have money. But anyway,
I wish that's how that worked. Money.
yeah, right.
Money.
God, it's a pillow. You know.
You're supposed to be back once the streetlights turned on.
Yeah, right. Your Gen X money, get in here.
Yeah. I'm showing my age
It's
now.
10.
Great.
Do you know where your money is? No. Don't. Why is it? I'm sorry. Did I mention I go on tangents a lot?
That is totally fine. Over at Retrieving Sanity, we follow the rabbit hole train, and it goes into any train. I mean, it goes into lots of different rabbit holes, and we just follow it.
Have you met
So,
Jim? That's the one I meet down the rabbit hole a lot. That
yeah.
rabbit, Jim, he doesn't like me.
Ah. No, usually it's the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. You know, he's late
Ooh,
somewhere,
fun.
and so we're trying to figure out where the hell he's going and what he's late for. Yeah.
Google scares me, by the way. My Google search histories, it will scare people.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things, you know, whenever you're trying to write something, you have to get either a bigger perspective, you got to get a wider frame, and you can't do that whenever it's just like you live your own experience, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like how else would you know how to write about a morgue if unless you're a coroner or something, you know? It's like you got to
Yeah.
do some weird Google searches.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I'll read something and I'll be like, that's not how that works. That's not how they do that. That's no, absolutely not. And I'll put the book down. And then there are other times where I'm sitting here, like for Kyra, because of what she does. She is an interrogator and a
Ooh.
fixer. And I had to Google, what was it I was Googling? Something about like piano or cheese wire having the right amount of weights. And if you could bolo like 10 feet away and it would decapitate. And Google is like, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, great, now I've scandalized Google. Google's like slapping my hand going, no, no
I wonder
knowledge
how.
for you.
I mean, I'm sure I've popped up on some government watch lists or whatever just because Googling stuff as a little kid and teenager and stuff, you know? And then it's coming to find out, like, oh, that's what the anarchist cookbook is. Whoops. You know, like, oh, I just Googled it to find out what it was. It wasn't
Yeah.
like I wanted to read it. I was just
I
like,
was
what
looking
is
for
that?
a recipe. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I want to know what freedom cake is.
It's not a urinal.
Real quick,
Sorry.
Amanda. No, you're fine. Do you think that we can see you on in the future again before we hop onto our game show for tonight?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to join anytime.
Awesome. And where can people find your books if they're looking to find you?
Well, I am most places that fine books are sold. I am on the Zon, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. My publisher, Four Horsemen Publications. My website is authoramandafasciano.com, and I have linkage all through there.
Thank you for being on for this evening, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation as well.
I am too.
we do have a little bit of a game show ready to go if you want to play.
I do. I love game
Awesome.
shows.
So, our game show for this evening is The Architect's Gambit. It's a 2-part game show. So, phase 1 is going to be sentence horror stories. Okay? And then phase 2 is going to be a little bit more intricate. So, we'll explain that one once we get there. But phase 1, I'm going to provide 1 sentence, and I need you to give me 2 to send a shiver down the audience's spine. Do you think you can do that?
I sure will try.
Alrighty. Sentence number 1. I looked into the mirror and realized my reflection was 3 seconds behind my actual movements.
After that, I noticed there was a mirror behind me, and that image had a weapon.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Ooh. That one gave me a bit of a chill. Oh. Okay. Sentence number 2. My child's imaginary friend just described the outfit that their grandfather was wearing when they were buried.
He then went on to describe where the wounds were. Nobody knew about those.
Ooh. Ooh, okay. Okay, number 3. Every morning, I find a new tally mark scratched into the skin of my inner forearm.
It was better that it was on the forearm, because when it reached the heart, all bets were off.
Ooh, okay. What about number 4? I went to make coffee to keep awake during my midnight security shift.
The pot was already full of coffee. I was the only one here.
Ooh. I thought you were about to say, and I don't like coffee. What gives? And last up for phase 1, the coroner pulled out the body tray to help Sandra identify the victim.
To the coroner's shock, the victim was him.
Ooh. All right, sweet.
Now that I gave you heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. I'm going to have to play some happy-go-lucky games or something before bed tonight. It's okay. Phase number 2. I'm going to give you a character flaw and or curse and a setting. You have about 30 seconds to provide the inciting incident or something that will help turn the curse or flaw into a superpower for the protagonist. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, first up, the character is a protagonist that's cursed with the fog of infinite doubt. The setting is a labyrinth guarded by a truth-telling sphinx. How would the fog of the protagonist actually help them survive from the sphinx?
The fog would work with the sphinx to make the sphinx doubt that what it is saying is the truth after all.
Ooh. Okay. So it kind of backfires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that. Now, what about an anti-hero who's haunted by the echoes of their former selves? And they're in a grand ballroom where masks are magically fused to faces. How would the echoes allow the protagonist or the anti-hero to unmask the villain?
Okay. Every echo, every shard of personality is refocused into each mask until each mask is no longer a mask, but a full face.
Ooh. Okay. Huh. That would be really cool to read about. All right. And last up, a mage whose magic only works when they are emotionally devastated. And the setting is a final battle to save the light of the world. How would their sorrow become their greatest shield?
Their sorrow, their greatest sorrow, is a happy memory. It is a sorrow because they no longer have it. They no longer have the people associated with it. But that memory guards the light.
Ooh. Oh, that's bittersweet.
Yes.
Oh man, that's good.
Thank
Oof.
you.
Yeah. Um, well, Amanda, thank you for playing our Architect's Gambit, and because of that, you have earned yourself the honorary title of the Sovereign of the That I bit my own tongue. The Sovereign of the Shadow Stitched Veil. So thank
Ooh,
you.
thank you.
Yeah,
I like that title.
of course. Once I figure out how to get these all like plastered on like parchment or something, I'll send you one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Um, and with that being said, we are right near the end of this episode, but I do have one last question for you.
Of course.
All right, Amanda. The name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of living life impact our mental health. Looking at the incredible motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today? And what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone on that journey?
Self-awareness is absolutely crucial. Finding a way to
Mm,
get there. Whether it's being self-aware of your own faults or your own pitfalls. Um, Retrieving sanity to me is just trying to hold on to the path that keeps leading forward.
mm. Ooh, I love that. Yeah, because sometimes all we can do is try our best, right?
Yep. And sometimes we do slip, but don't take it too hard. Just keep trying, keep grasping, and just keep reaching for forward momentum.
Yeah. Ah, I love that. It's a powerful message. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Of course. And it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you on this
It has
evening.
been a
And
blast. Thank you.
yeah, it sure has. And I hope everyone else out there has had as much fun as we have. And I know I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Yes.
And I mean, so we're going to have to hear all about the adventures of Kira. And I'm going to have to pick up the Otherworld Saga, I guess, because I've been trying to get back into reading. My last name is Read. I should be reading a lot of books. So. Uh, with that being said, everyone out there, this has been Keegan, this has been Amanda, and thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, try to love yourself, love others if you can, but you gotta love yourself first. And if you're having a mental health crisis, you can dial 988. And if you don't want to call anyone, you can text 741-741. And if you're in the LGBTQ plus community, you can dial the Trevor Project up in Canada. And then, so everyone out there, be safe. Much love.
Much love.
Shalom.